Yeah, sorry, huh? Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll continue. Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to start with concept of disease. As we have done in that unit, we have done with the concept of health, health definition as physical health, mental health, spiritual health. Okay, then we have done with determinants of health and like indicators of health. So today I'm going to start with concept of disease. So if you feel some trouble, just let me know. Okay. So you able to see the screen?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Now it is visible. Able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today I'm going to start with the natural history of disease. So in that you have to study about like what is the concept of disease. Like they were having a germ theory. Afterwards, they have given so many theories relates to the disease. Okay. So in that we have to study about what is the concept of disease. Okay, afterwards, what is the concept of causation? Like how we are getting this is what are the theories behind that? So we were having germ theory of disease. Afterwards, so many scientists came with their so many scientists came with their different theory. Afterwards we'll go with natural history of disease. What is the history of disease? Then we have to study about phases, how many phases of disease. So here we'll start with the natural history of disease. Okay, so you're able to see the screen, you're able to hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So this is very important part of your syllabus as well as your health education and community pharmacy. So once here I'm going to here PPT is actually a little big, so it is having 41 slides. So slowly I'll try to finish. But as the portion I'm going to finish here from book as a PDF, I'll share with you. So you will start making your notes. Okay. So here you can see in contents I'm going to cover introduction, what is the concept of disease, what are the concept of causation of disease, then what is the natural history of disease in man, and afterwards what are the concept of prevention. So this everything you are having in your syllabus. Okay, so one by one we'll try to understand. So introduction, so in introduction we can tell natural history of disease refers to the progress of disease process in an individual over time in the absence of intervention. Okay, so here we are just asking about the like natural history of disease. It will refer to the progress of disease process in an individual over time. So as the times will like go, how that disease will process. Okay, in the absence of intervention. Now we don't have any idea about the intervention, whether who is acting as a host over there. Okay, so that things will study under epidemiological triad. So in that I'll let you know about host agents, and one thing is another thing is that is environment. So here you can see the process begins with the exposure to or accumulation of factors capable of causing disease. So what will happen, how we can get the disease? So suppose a weather change, so you have some like you caught with cough or cold. So how you caught with cough or cold? Because you have some bacteria or some virus that all are present in environment only. So that time your environment is acting as an agent, and that agent will go to the man or human being. So that time the person or the human being is acting as a host. So I'll let you know about in later. I'll go throughout that that triad of disease. So in that only I'll let you know about what exactly the environment, what is agent, and what is host. So here you can see the process begins with exposure to or accumulation of factors capable of causing disease. Okay, without medical intervention the process ends with, if there is not any medical intervention, if suppose we didn't started any medicines and all, so three kind of situations may be happen. So here you can see it may be recovery, it may be disability, or it may be death. Okay, so here you can see without medical intervention, intervention means interruptions. If we are not having, if we are not started taking medicines, So what is going to get happen? So three things will be happen: whether the person will recover by himself or herself, only himself or herself, or whether he or she will become disabled, or they may be death. Here you can see exposure may be your bacteria, virus, pathogens, whatever they are present in environment. They are going to enter in host. Okay. Afterwards, if they are going to enter in host, once they are going to enter in host, they will multiply. Their numbers are going to increase. So many times we'll not able to analyze the symptoms. Okay. That it means that condition is known as pre-pathogenesis, and afterwards, once we'll come to know about the symptoms, that is known as pathogenesis. So that I'm going to cover in my next slide. So here you can see exposure means environment. It may be environment because all of the bacteria, viruses, whatever we are having, that are in environment only. When they found some host, like host will be your human beings or animals, and once they found that host, then they will form as a disease. They are going to form a disease because the number of that particular bacteria or particular viruses are going to increase. Then maybe three kind of conditions will be there if medical intervention is not there. Okay. So they can recover, either they can disable, or they may be go to death. So these three conditions are there if we are not having medical intervention. Okay. So this was about the introduction. And natural history of disease is one of the major element of descriptive epidemiology. So in epidemiology, generally we'll study about what are the cause of disease. Okay, how the like what is the pre-pathogenesis and pathogenesis of disease? What is the disease, or how the disease is one of the major elements of descriptive epidemiology. Any disease result from a complex interaction between man, agent, and the environment. So as I said, three things are there. First one is man. So man is acting as a host, and agent means whatever the bacteria is there, some pathogens are there, some viruses are there, so they are going to act as a agent, and the environment. So three things are there, they all together known as triad. Okay, then understanding the progress of disease process and its pathogenic chain of event is must for the application of preventive measures. So understanding the progress of disease, it is very important if we have to prevent, if we have to take the preventive measure for that particular disease. So first and all, we have to understood about the progress of disease and its pathogenic chain of events, and how it is going to get happen, how it is happening. So these things we have to study. So this was all about in introduction of the disease. Okay. Now next an important one is your concept of disease. So what is the concept of disease? So as we know, what do you mean by disease? Disease literally means without ease. Okay, we are not comfortable without ease. It can be simply defined as opposite of health. If simply you have to define, so what you can say, opposite of health is known as disease. Okay. Any deviation from normal function, suppose every day you know your normal routine. Okay, so if you have something that is against or that is deviated from your normal routine, so that is going to be known as disease. So disease literally means without ease. It can be simply defined as the opposite of health, that is any deviation from normal functioning or state of complete physical or mental well-being, since health and disease are mutually exclusive. They are exclusive. So it may be like physically you have your routine change, or mentally you are finding that your routine is going to get changed. So disease means without ease or opposite of that health. If you find out that you have some changes in your mental health, you are deviated from your normal routine, so that is an indication of disease. Then in Oxford English Dictionary, how they define, so disease as a condition of the body or some part or organ of body in which its functions are disrupted. So in Oxford English Dictionary, how they define a condition of the body or some part of the organ of the body in which its functions are not normal, in its functions are disrupted. It means their functioning get disturbed. So that time these condition or this situation or this phenomena is known as disease. Okay. So here they define. So first one is disease literally means without ease. If you are not comfortable with something, that means you have something that is disease only. It can be simply defined as opposite of health. If you have some deviation from your normal routine, health, it may be relates to physical health, it may be relates to mental health, it may be relates to spiritual health. Then second, in Oxford English Dictionary, they are telling a condition of the body or some part or organ of the body in which its functions are disrupted. If you are having your normal functioning and your organ are not working properly, then that time it is known as disease. Okay, so and WHO basically they defined about health. They didn't give any definition for a disease. Okay, so WHO has defined health but not disease. This is because disease has many shades, because it has many shades or spectrum of disease, because for every time there's for every disease they are having different spectrum, they are having different shades for particular disease and all, ranging from inapparent cases to severe manifest illness. So sometimes you will not able, sometimes the symptoms you will not able to find out, or definitely you are going that will manifest to illness. Okay, so here that day I told you what is the difference between sick, ill, and disease. So that I'll explain. I'll again explain you that things. So in WHO they didn't define about disease because disease has many shades. So with that particular thing, they are not able to define disease. They simply define health. So how they define the health? Health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely an absence of disease or infirmity. So how we can say how we can define the health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So here you can see three terms are there: disease, illness, and sickness. As in my previous class, I told you, I already informed you about these terms. What do you want? What do you mean by disease? What do you mean by illness? And what do you mean by sickness? So here you can see disease means physiological or psychological dysfunction. If suppose you have some physiological or psychological dysfunction, that time it is going to consider under disease. Second one is illness. So illness means presence of a specific disease as well as the individual perception and behavior in response to the disease. So illness means suppose you have some disease, and with that what is your perception and how you are going to behave. If you have your strong willpower, you nobody able to find out that mentally you are behaving differently, and you are having something different from your daily routine and all. So suppose you caught with some disease, you have some disease, you identified with some, you diagnosed with some disease, that time how, what is your perception, or what are the individual perception and behavior in response to the disease, how you are going to behave toward your disease, that is going to consider under illness. You understood about disease and illness?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so here you should make it clear that what do you mean by disease, what is illness, and what is sickness. Disease means physiological psychological dysfunction. Now suppose you have that psychological dysfunction, now how you are acting towards, suppose you have some psychological dysfunction, now as an individual how you are going to react. Okay, how you are, what is your perception towards that one, and what is your behavior toward that disease, that will comes under your illness. Then sickness means state of social dysfunction, that is the role that individual assumes when ill. Suppose that person become ill. So illness we here like how he is behaving. So that if its behavior is not good, it means it is going to act as a dysfunction in respect of social community and all. So state of social dysfunction is known as sickness. That is a role that individual assumes when ill. So this is when it will occur if they have some psychological dysfunction. Unless they will feel if they have some psychological disorder, and also how they are approaching toward, how they are perception toward that disease, and once they will become ill, so how they are how their state of dysfunction towards social community, that will comes under your sickness. Okay, so this was concept of a disease. Okay, apart from that, I'll share some book PDF with you. In that, they have given some causation of disease and all, so that will cover in this unit only. Okay, so what is the concept of disease? There are three things. First one is disease, second one is illness, and third one is sickness. So disease means some physiological or psychological dysfunction. Then illness means presence of a specific disease as well as the individual perception and behavior in response to the disease. Suppose you have some disease, so what are your perception toward that disease? What is your behavior toward that disease? That will comes under illness. And sickness means state of social dysfunction. So disease was physiological or psychological dysfunction, and sickness, it is social dysfunction. How socially you change your behavior if you have some disease, how your communication change with the community if you have some disease. So that is going to consider under sickness. Sometimes we are telling he is mentally sick. Okay, we are using this term, he is mentally a sick person. So it means they are not, they are having social dysfunction toward their community, wherever they are living, wherever they are working. Okay, then in concept of causation, how we are like what are the concept of causation of disease? Here you can see Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch. They have given germ theory of disease. So in that, Louis Pasteur demonstrated the presence of bacteria. What he demonstrated? He demonstrated the presence of bacteria in air in 1860. So what he has done? He demonstrated the presence of bacteria in air, okay, in 1860. And Robert Koch showed that anthrax is caused by bacteria in 1877. So this is simply what they have given, what are the causation, concept of causation of disease. So here germ theory of disease, as per this theory, Louis Pasteur demonstrated the presence of bacteria in air in 1860. And anthrax showed that Robert Koch showed that anthrax is caused by a bacteria in 1877. Okay, then Louis Pasteur, as I said, he said that there is presence of bacteria in air. So they have done one practical, then they have done what experiment. You have done this experiment in 12th. You all studied this one in your 12th germ theory.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is just a little description or little explanation here. So here you can see Louis Pasteur experiment to refuse the theory of spontaneous generation. So he refused that spontaneous generation theory. So what they have done, broth in flask is boiled to kill pre-existing microorganisms. So they prepared a broth, or they prepared broth means kind of soup or sorba you can say. So they have prepared broth in flask is boiled too. So they are boiling that one to kill pre-existing microorganisms. So whatever the pre-existing microorganism was there, they boiled that broth to kill that particular organism or microorganism. Then they find out there was no growth. As broth cools, when it become cools or it become condensed, water collected, sealing the mouth at the flask. What they have done, they sealed the mouth of that flask with some cotton and all. So what they found, there was not any kind of bacterial growth and all, because there was not any way to interrupt the air in these flask and all. And third, once they broken down this neck from this flask, so what they have seen, if neck is later broken off, outside air can carry microorganism into broth. So this was the general like germ theory behind that behind that one. So Louis Pasteur experiment to refuse the theory of spontaneous generation. So he refused the theory of that spontaneous generation. Then germ theory of disease explained about one-to-one relationship between causal agent and disease. Okay, so there is one-to-one relationship. As I said, some agent will be there. That agent may be your microorganism, maybe your bacteria, maybe virus, maybe pathogens that are already present in the environment. Okay, then these disease agent is going to act, they are going to attack to a man. So that time man is acting as a host. So here the germ theory of disease, as per respect to that theory, they are showing the relationship between agent, man and disease. So disease agent, that man or that particular person caused with that agent. Okay, they enter to in that human being, and they finally they diagnosed with some kind of disease. Okay, so here this was about your like if you will get question like what is germ theory of disease, so you can write, they will ask simply about concept of disease. So in that you have to write down about these things. Afterwards I'll share the books PDF with you, so you can easily understand what exactly it is. Okay, so here germ theory of disease. Now this is very important, epidemiological triad. Okay, so what exactly it is? Triad means three things. So what are the three things here? What is the epidemiological triad? So in that three things are there. First one is your agent, causal agent. Second one will be your host, and third one is your environment. Okay, so you will able to see like I'll show you in book. We have one diagram related to that one that I'll show you later. So here you can see what is epidemiological triad according to these concept of disease. So this is also a concept of disease only. According to these concept of disease causation, in addition to the causal agent. So who is that agent? Agent is causal agent, that may be your microorganism or bacteria. The factor relating to the host and environment are equally important to determine whether or not disease will occur in the exposed host. So three things are very important: agent, host and environment. Once that agent find a home, you can say he found a place that where they can grow. So it may be like the factors relating to the host and environment are equally important to determine whether or not disease will occur in the exposed host. Whether it may be changed into a disease, or if they have some strong immunity and all, they cannot grow because they have strong immunity and all. So whether it may be exposed or it may not be exposed, the host, two things are there. For example, not everyone exposed to tuberculous bacteria develops tuberculosis. So everyone is not having TB, but the same exposure in an undernourished or immunocompromised person may result in clinical disease, and exposure occurs more in overcrowding. So once the person having like TB and all, so mostly like while sneezing and all, they are telling in their droplets they are having that kind of bacteria. So they 6 months like they have some medicines and all, drops and all, they have to go with that medication. Till then, if they are going to expose in the environment, if some person is coming or they have some meeting with them, so definitely that person, there are number of chances that they can occur with the same disease. So in overcrowding, and also here what they are telling epidemiological triad, what exactly it is. So here you can see environment is there, agent is there, and host is there. So agent, what is agent? It may be virus. You able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here you
Yes,
can see
ma'am.
agent may be virus or okay. Viruses, it may be bacteria, it may be fungi, or it may be parasites. Okay, so these agent will find host. Host, it may be human beings or it may be animal. Okay, and how environment is responsible for these things, or how it is playing an important important role for causing or causation of disease. So here you can see environment, climate, housing, healthcare settings, travel. So in environment, so many things are there: where you are living, where you are staying, where you are traveling, or like everything, whatever we are having in our surroundings, that all things are in our environment only. So environment agent will be your virus, your bacteria, your fungi, or your parasites, and host will be your human beings or animals. Okay, then what do you mean by agent? Okay, so three things are there. What are the three parameters are there in this epidemiological triad? What are the three parameters?
Agent, host, environment.
And environment. Very good. So three things are there: agent, host, and environment. So what are the agents?
Viruses, bacteria.
Okay, very good. Okay, so agent factors are there, then host are there, then environment is there. So what do you mean by agent? So how we how the person will come, or how they diagnose that how the doctor will diagnose that that person is having that particular disease and all. So that only we are discussing here, that are under concept of disease only. So agent factor means agent is defined as a substance. It may be living or non-living, or it may be a kind of force, tangible or intangible, the excessive presence or relative lack of which may initiate or perpetuate a disease process. So what are agents? This may be living or non-living, which are going to initiate the disease process. Okay, then a disease may have a single agent, a number of independent alternative agents, or a complex of two or more factors whose combined presence is essential for development of disease. So now what they are telling, agent may be, it may be a single agent, or it may be alternative agents, or it may be a complex of two or more than three or four agents. So that combined presence is essential for development of disease. So how they are developing the disease in that particular host. So these are the agent factors. Then here you can see what are the agent factors. So it may be biological factor, or it may be nutrient agent, or it may be physical agent, it may be chemical agent, or it may be mechanical agent. So one by one we'll see what exactly these are. So what are agent? Agent is defined as a substance, living or non-living, which are responsible for, or which are responsible, or which may initiate or perpetuate a disease process, which are responsible for the process of disease, for the development of disease. Okay. Then agent may be a number of independent, a single agent, or there may be a number of independent alternative agents, or a complex of two or more factors whose combined presence is essential for development of disease. Oh, so what exactly these are? So here you can see biological agents are there. So these are living agents of disease. Example, virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, etc. So these are living agents of disease. Bacteria are living organisms. So these are living agent of diseases. Example, viruses, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. So in these three things are there: infectivity, pathogenicity, and virulence. So what do you mean by infectivity? Ability of agent to invade and multiply in host. Infection, we heard about this one, infection. So ability of agent. So what exactly your agent? It may be bacteria, it may be virus, it may be fungi, it may be protozoa. So infectivity means ability of agent to invade and multiply in host. So if they are number of bacteria is going to increase, if they are invading in the host, it is known as infectivity. Then pathogenicity, ability to induce clinical apparent illness. It means now some person caused with some disease. So how how he is taking that disease individually? What is his perception toward that one? That disease and all. So it is going to induce illness. It is going to induce clinically apparent illness. So we can observe that things in that particular person. Then virulence, proportion of clinical cases resulting in severe clinical manifestation, including sequel and also proportion of clinical cases. So how many, what are the clinical cases resulting in severe clinical manifestation? If they having severe clinical manifestation, so what should be the proportion of clinical case will be there? So that things will cover under your virulence. Then next is your nutrient agent. So in biological agent, what important things you have to write? You have to write down about viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoa. They are living agents. Okay. Then your second one is your nutrient agent. So examples are protein, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and water. So what are the nutrient agent? It may be protein, it may be fat, it may be carbohydrate, it may be vitamins, it may be minerals, or it may be water. Sometimes you had heard about that the person is having some soy allergy. Okay, some person if they have some gluten allergy they are having. So sometimes you will see in packets they have written gluten free and all. Have you seen these things? Okay, so this was about your nutrient agent. So it may be protein, fats, carbohydrate, vitamins, mineral, and water. So sometime infection we can cut out water also. Sometime we can cut out mineral also. So then physical agent. Example: excessive heat, cold, radiation, electricity, sound. Physical agent. These are the physical agents. So sometime due